Creators are so encouraging of each other. We are like all on the same team. You rarely see trolls. You rarely see hateful comments. And I was trying to figure out, why is that? And I realized it's because everybody has that same goal of, we just want to have fun. It's a very lighthearted app. It's full of laughter, dancing. You can't do a dance and not giggle. So it's just a fun time.
That's Alyssa Quilala, also known as Liz. Liz is an Instagram influencer, and she's been an Instagram influencer since before Instagram influencers were really given their name. Over the years, she's been able to grow her audience, and as she's been able to grow her audience, she's now in a place where she can support herself exclusively from her influencer role. She shared with us her story, and she also shared with us some tips and tricks for engaging and marketing yourself on these platforms, particularly when you're new. Liz is also really excited about starting her career as an actress, which she's able to do with the same audience that she's been building all this time. So here she is, the one-of-a-kind Liz Quilala.
Alyssa Quilala, we are so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you.
You're beautiful. You shine like a pretty light, and we're just, we're so excited to talk to you.
Well, thanks.
And
People
figure
say
out-
we look alike, so
Well,
I
hey.
mean, back at you.
Thank you. It's awesome.
It's true.
Kevin's going to be like, oh gosh, get me out of here. Too much in one
It's
room.
fine. It's fine.
So
it's all
cute.
good.
So I would love to know a little bit about your journey becoming an influencer. Can you share about what that's been like for you? I mean, I know that you started, before influencers were really a thing. So tell us about it.
Right. Well, I've had Instagram since the day it started. I was definitely one of those. Instagram is about 10 years old, maybe 10 and a half years actually now. And so I got my account. I was like ready for it. I started with pictures of my kids, you know how everybody did, pictures of your food, all of that, latte art, everything that you could find is like ends up on Instagram. And I definitely started with like making it almost my blog, because I'm not a blogger. I'm not good at it, actually. Like, I love to write. I actually wrote a book, but I don't like to blog. So just the time it took, all of that. So I ended up using Instagram as my blog because it was shorter. It was a little blurb that I could just throw out there. These are things that I'm thinking about. This is like what's on my heart today, whether it was family related, church related, beauty products I started with. So it was kind of just like this big jumble of lifestyle, like just everything that I'm involved in. And it slowly started to gain some traction. And at about 8 years ago, so that would be 2 years into Instagram, I had 10K followers, which that was before there was Instagram influencers. Like, that wasn't even a name. Influencer wasn't a title for us yet, So, but the reason why I feel like it did what it did was because of the realness of, this is just me being a mom, and these are the products that I use, and I like to take care of myself. I like to have my hair done and my makeup done. So that was kind of the start of it. Was definitely more beauty-based, family-based, all of that.
So then when brands kind of came in and when businesses started coming in and Instagram started to become what it is now, do you remember at what point they started contacting you and you started realizing what an influencer meant?
Yeah. So around that time, I actually started a separate account, which I no longer have, but it was a lifestyle, fitness, and food account. And that actually had about 30K followers when I deleted it. About a year and a half ago, actually, I deleted it just because I wasn't keeping up with it very much. But I started that one, and that's the one that actually turned me into an influencer, is what I would say, because those were the brands that were reaching out to say, hey, can you share, this is the shake that you drink every day. This is the, makeup products that you use. So I was doing that there. My fitness stuff was there. I'm also Pilates and yoga certified. So I was like sharing my workouts, like just kind of using that as that field. And that's where brands started contacting me, because my other one, my main account now, was mainly family related. So I would get maybe toys sent to me or like clothing for the children, that sort of thing with just that side. So it was cool having the two separate accounts. I felt like it did give people like, hey, you can pick this if you're interested, or you can pick that if you're interested. But for me, I just felt too jumbled. It was too much to keep up with separating them. So I ended up deleting that account, and I ended up really noticing like, wow, this is an income, because it started as brands just sent you free stuff and then you post about it. So that's how all of us started, is brands send you free things and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is free. What? Like anything free just sounded great. Now when it's sent to me for free, I'm like, okay, well, I have to really like this if I'm going to like take the time to post about it, just because there's so much saturation on Instagram nowadays, and you have to really choose your content wisely, just to not overload people with ads. But all let's say, I don't know if I answered that question all the way, except for about 3 years ago is when income started, is what I would say, like financial income.
It seems like you're really intentional at this point in the game about what your brand and how you want to represent yourself, kind of choosing what you're promoting and not just like accepting products or anything just from anybody. You want to make sure that it's true to you. And so I feel like that authenticity is really important. Can you like talk about that a little bit?
Well, and I think that people follow because they know that and they're aware of that, because of the fact that there are so many influencers nowadays. You don't really know what's real and what's like a massive paycheck, and they're just saying, I love this so much. You have no idea, you guys, go buy it. And then you order it and it's crap. Like, it's very frustrating, because I've actually succumbed to that as well. I follow an influencer where I was like, dude, I've ordered everything that you said was good and I don't like it. So, for me, it was very important that I would really choose wisely. If a brand wants to send me something for free, of course, I'm going to say no problem, but you have to know that I'm not going to promote it if I don't like it. I won't bash your brand. I won't like totally destroy you guys or anything and say anything bad, but I won't promote something that I don't love. And I think my followers really enjoy that about me. And they know that if I'm going to say, hey, you guys should buy this, I truly mean you should buy this. I think that you could benefit from it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great integrity, Alyssa.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Honesty, best policy.
Well, I think honesty, integrity, authenticity is a really interesting thing, because we all know with Instagram that like there's this element of it that's so inauthentic. It's like you're scrolling through picture after picture that is just not true. And so how do you forge ahead with authenticity? What does authenticity look like for you on Instagram?
Or moving forward, because we talked about
and at what point did you start to feel that sense of like the distance between authentic and unauthentic? Like, have you ever had a moment where you're like, this isn't authentically me? Oh, I'm gonna correct that. You know what I mean?
100%. So around this year is when I really started to see a lot more traction with social media, even more, where now it's, my main income. I'm supported on it, which is incredible that I can say that now, that I don't need any other side work because of that. And so there's that pull to be what people want you to be, because it's my paycheck. So like, I got to give you what you want. And how much of that is real though, like this is what you want, but is that actually me? So I definitely had to reevaluate, and I feel like I still have to over and over again. But like, for example, in like personal life, going through really hard stuff this year, and it's stuff that people would not have expected. And I've always portrayed a really strong family life, things that are like, ministry, kids, just everything in our world that I'm known for, I was very proud of. And then a lot of it got shattered. And so how do I explain to my followers that none of that was fake, yet things change and stuff is hard and life gets tough? So I definitely went that route with a lot of my posts, with saying, hey guys, just so you know, like I'm going through tough stuff. I've posted that I've gone through therapy, that I'm currently in therapy, that I feel like, mental health is a big deal. Just anything that is, even if it's heavy stuff, even if it's not considered like bubbly, oh my gosh, I'm drinking my latte on a Sunday. Like if I'm not posting that, it should still be something that you want to see, because you should be following me for what I bring to the table, whether it's a perfect Sunday afternoon or it's a really, really hard Friday night, So that's definitely been and I feel like I've lost some,
I was going to say, what's the reaction been like?
It's funny because I've had some people really comment and say like, you're so depressed lately. Like, what happened to you? Because I'm a very bubbly, like, happy person, but sometimes you go through tough stuff, and it's just it's really hard to put that on. So I had a lot of people say like, I'm so sorry, like I got a dip. You've been depressed too much, and that's hard. But it's also like, okay, bye. Like if you don't want the real life, then I'm fine with you not following me. Because the reality is I love the paycheck, but I also have to be true to myself. And then I've also gotten the feedback of, wow, you're really, really happy and really bubbly for everything that's going on in your life from the people who do know. So you're never going to please anybody on social media, ever. So if you're like starting out in that world with social media, you're never going to please everybody. And you have to be able to take you're doing it wrong, the criticism, I can't believe you posted that. It's just, you're splaying yourself out there and it's just never going to be pleasing for anyone. So
totally. That's so hard. I mean, but at the same time, I guess you could say that any job comes with its like difficulties, right? And so if this is your job, do you feel like it's something that you are excited to continue to pursue and go down that route of building your brand and doing everything that you've been doing? Or do you feel like you have goals that are different? Like, do you love it enough to keep it going?
Yes. So, and that's another thing. It was very much a defining year for me because I felt like, okay, do I love this enough to keep investing and deal with the fact that I may lose some, I may gain more. The reality is that it really, so like when you, especially on Instagram, there's kind of a plateau phase that all of us go through with influencing. Instagram, to make a long story short, they really do block your growth in the algorithm issues, like all of that. They want to make sure that people are as authentically growing as possible. So nobody is going to find you unless you are referred by a friend, for example, like the share button or whatever, So share the post. So it's definitely a different time frame to be building on Instagram. It's a lot harder right now to do so. So for me, I was at kind of that plateau phase, and I either will be losing a lot of followers or I could be gaining a lot that are in a totally different sphere than I've had before. So I'm excited about the change of it. I don't care if I lose followers. I really don't. Like I'm kind of so invested in the people who have stuck through the years, and I see them and I see like the fact that they've prayed for my family, when my husband was on tour or my child was sick, like just everything that they've invested in my family life. I'm good with you guys being around. I don't necessarily mind if the trolls leave. So
totally. You kind of
you're
have
just
to
a
have
number.
That.
Yeah. It's so true.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm excited for the changes. It will be good.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so what are some things that you're like wanting to work on like creatively? I mean, I know that we get inspired as creatives all the time by things around us. And so are there any things that you're like, I haven't tried this yet, I'm really interested in working on this or like dabbling in this?
Well, I just like recently started with TikTok, which is a whole other social media app. I don't know if that answers the question.
It does.
Let's talk TikTok.
Let's talk TikTok.
I've been waiting to talk TikTok because
you only know if you have it.
Well, it's this platform confuses me so much.
So challenging.
Yeah, because it's like
yes.
But what's interesting about TikTok is it's the new thing.
Exactly.
And you experienced Instagram when it was the new thing. And so you were able to capitalize on the cheap real estate of Instagram. Now it's not so cheap.
Exactly.
And now it's like, as an influencer, can I change gears or do something where I either grow a new audience or bring some of my audience to a new platform,
right?
And then we could do something where real estate's cheap.
Yes. And that was kind of like, for me, when I saw TikTok, like, okay, this is no longer a child's app. It started as Musical.ly.
Right.
And it was kids lip syncing. That's all it was. But it changed to TikTok. I actually got hired as an actress to do their ads, like through my agent, totally separate. So it was super funny that I got connected to TikTok through that. But I never gained like any following or anything because of that, because I didn't have like a handle or anything when they posted those, because those are just strictly ads, if that makes sense. They're not social media related. But So all that to say, when I saw TikTok, I was all, challenge accepted. Like, give me some. I am so ready to try to build something new and see if I can do it again. Like, how cool, right? Like, what an opportunity to be able to say, I wonder if I can build something again. And I've had it for 2 months and I don't have like a high following or anything, but I do have a couple videos that have really taken off. And I'm proud of that because those followers are not my Instagram followers. Those viewers are not my Instagram viewers. So that does tell me that I have the ability to build and I know how to build based on viewer reaction. So it's been it's a fun playing field. I like it.
So how is your strategy different in creating content? Because it's very different than Instagram. TikTok is, I mean, I don't know as much about it as you do. So could you share a little bit?
Yeah. So TikTok is basically a music and audio run app. So you never watch TikTok on silent, whereas Instagram, a lot of times you're scrolling through your stories and everything is on silent, or even through your main feed and a video comes up. You noticed a lot of the videos have their text, thank you, written on there so that the viewer still can comprehend what's going on. TikTok, you will never once open your app without the sound on. It's a waste of time because you have no idea what's going on. There's text, yes, sometimes, but the whole point is audio. It's either a sound that's funny and you create something that goes along with the sound. Like, let's say, for example, there's this one audio that's somebody just like, like freaking out about something. And they're just like, and you would like create your version of, that's me when the memes basically of when my dog is jumping around and blah, blah, blah. So you create your version of it, tag it to the sound, and the sound puts you through the algorithm. It can be a song. That's why sometimes there's dances that go viral. There's a very popular girl on TikTok who creates all these dances. So that's basically, I feel like the best part about TikTok is it's the creative brand. It is definitely the platform for the creative person, the comedian, the singer, songwriter, the goofball. Basically, these are the people that are coming out and creating little tiny bits of comedy or dances that are so entertaining in 15 seconds. You can't pull that off in an Instagram story. So that's what I think makes it so unique.
So with TikTok, though, how do you get people to like come back or to follow you? Because it's a little bit different, right?
Great question, yeah. So the algorithm with TikTok is very unique, and it's not at all like the Instagram one. When you open your TikTok app, the first thing you see is either your following or For You. So For You page is basically, they go based on what you've shown interest in the past 3 times that you were scrolling through, what you clicked like on the past 3 times, and they throw those videos back in. So your For You page is basically wrapped around your age. I get videos that are for 20 to 40-year-olds, whereas if a 17-year-old has the app, they're going to get the 17-year-old type videos or whatever. So you're not really seeing content that I don't get kid content in my For You page, which is really nice that they filter it for you. Following is based on, you get one growth point, I guess I should say. It's not a point system, but you get 1 growth point for a like, 2 is for a comment, 3 is for a rewatch, and 4 is for a share to your friend.
Wow.
So basically, sharing to your friend is going to give you the most viral posts, or most viral. It's going to go through more For Yous to other people. If I share it to you, it's going to go to her For You. It's going to go to her For You. It's going to keep circulating. If I rewatch it, every time I rewatch it, it pushes it to another person's For You page. Does that make sense?
That's so
it's a very fair viewing system because it's based on actual talent. Nobody's going to rewatch and share something that's crap, So if it's being shared and it's being rewatched, it tells the algorithm that this is quality content. So it's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
It makes you feel good too, to know, okay, this is something that was actually funny, or this is something that actually shows my talent. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Hopefully I described that well.
Yes, you really did. I'm like, I
This is
feel like
Quilala, the teacher right now.
Yeah.
The TikTok teacher.
2 months in, I'm a pro. Yeah, no, not at all. But I understand the system. I just made sure to learn the system before creating the content.
how do you learn? I mean, where do you get your information?
So this is like I don't know if anybody on here follows Gary Vee.
Gary Vee.
Yeah, we all
he's
know
so
Gary
cool.
Vee.
I mean, we gotta
There you go.
filter out some stuff.
Yep.
And it's so funny because I was talking to somebody about it. I was like, I don't even notice his language anymore. I don't know if that's a bad
It's
thing
his
or a
brand.
good thing, but he's
just
like,
like him.
it's
Yeah.
incredible. So something that he talked about in one of his, I want to say it was either a podcast or a TED Talk. He talked about being the consumer before being the creator. And so if you have a desire to be a really good creator, you have to be a really good consumer first. So for example, you have to be able to retain what other people are doing. You have to be able to engage in theirs and give to theirs. So like, I comment, I really encourage comment like other creators that I love. And the funny thing is that my main following, I don't have a high following, but my main following are some of the top creators on TikTok out of the blue because I did exactly what Gary Vee said is invest in their brand first. So like I have collaborations coming up with accounts that have over 3 million followers.
Wow.
And they're great people. Like, I mean, like real relationships with them that have built just because I've been encouraging to them. They have no reason to follow me. Like, I don't have a high following at all.
So what is
I have some funny
encouragement?
videos.
What does that
but-
like look like on TikTok? I mean, how do you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
You tell me.
basically taking the time, and Gary talks about this too, which is something even you can do on Instagram. It takes the time to say, not just click like, but have your presence be known. Say a comment that's actually a real comment. Don't just like put clapping hands. Like everybody just does that if they like it. It's like, no, like what does that mean?
does
Like
that
what
mean?
are you liking?
Right,
No.
right.
Like describe in your comment what you like about this person's content because it means something to them.
Yeah.
And it shows like, oh, you're actually invested in this. You're somebody who cares about what I do and you see me,
So what is a comment like? I mean, could you just like share an example?
For example, have you heard of TikTok? On TikTok. So he's TikTok.
He's a doctor
TikTok.
on
He's a
TikTok.
doctor. He's a doctor
Is he
on
really a
TikTok.
doctor?
He legit is a doctor. And
That's
he does
awesome.
all the dances. And he
does the dances.
He's TikTok. He does all the dances.
love
It's
it.
mainly dances for him.
Okay.
But for example,
Brilliant.
just reached out and was like, wrote on comments like, that one's actually like, oh my gosh, that's funny. You did this part right. Or like, so when you put a dance on TikTok, anybody can do the dances. You don't have to be awesome at it. It's putting your spin on it that really makes it stand out or creating a funny twist to it. So somebody like TikTok does that. And I would point out what it is about that specific twist that I like. So that would be my comment base. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I see where you made this different and that's really cool. Good job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really cool.
And
Way
as
to
many
uplift
times
and
as you
build
can.
people.
As many times as you can. Yes. And that's an interesting thing. I actually was going to say this. Funny that you got there. TikTok is probably the most encouraging of the social media platforms that has ever existed.
Wow.
Creators are so encouraging of each other. We are like all on the same team. You rarely see trolls. You rarely see hateful comments. And I was trying to figure out why is that? And I realized it's because everybody has that same goal of we just want to have fun. It's a very lighthearted app. It's full of laughter, dancing. You can't do a dance and not giggle. So it's just a fun time.
Yeah.
It attracts a certain type of people.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the comedians. It's just the people that are like, hey, we're just having fun here. If it gets views, it does. If it doesn't, I'm still proud of it. And so because of that, it's also encouraging. You're not getting troll comments like YouTube and you're not getting, criticism on this, and this because we're just all on the same team of wanting to laugh and
I
have
love it.
fun.
I
So
love it.
So it's a
beautiful.
very
it's so true. It's
Yeah.
so on brand for Alyssa.
It really is. It really is. That's why I was like, oh, I got to get on this one. Got to get on it. I'm all about that laugh. Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful to hear that.
Yeah.
And yet still so funny because when I watch it, I'm like, I still
You
there's
don't
still
get it.
disconnect because I'm not in it, right? It's like this.
So you have
it's
to
a
just download
community
the
of
app and
Right.
Just watch. I mean, I'm serious. That's exactly what Gary Vee told me. And I say it like I know him. I don't know him. I wish I knew
Gary.
him. I'm going to comment on everything and see if he notices me. Oh, Gary, my bad. No, but like that was one of his points with TikTok when he talked about it was just download the app and watch, consume until you understand it. Don't feel so much pressure to put something out.
Yeah.
And that's really what I did was just keep watching videos. And that's how they did that. Okay, that's how the trend is. Like, and once you get it, it's like a light bulb goes off and you're like, wow, you're splicing videos. It's basically like a 15-second iMovie. You've got control over the music. You've got control over making transitions look silly. You've got control over using like a giant mouth and a head at one portion of it instead of the whole app. Like Snapchat, for example, you have to have a filter on the entire time. You can throw a filter on at 4.7 seconds if you want to with TikTok. So it's definitely a very creative.
Customizable.
It's customizable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So something that I'm struggling with, or that I struggle with social media and influencing in social media is that there's such an investment,
Yes.
such a time investment, and especially with TikTok because it's new. You're not
risk.
doing.
There's risk that's
There's risk,
involved,
and
yeah.
you're not doing it right now
For money.
For money, exactly. So
Totally.
and you're trying not to even think about doing it for money, right? But the reality is that we need money.
Yeah.
Like you're a mom, and there's things that come with that, right?
Bills do pay. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you navigate the time and investment in TikTok and in social media in general when you know that there's some things that you do that are not going to pay
Yes.
or bring in money?
So that's also kind of an interesting thing about TikTok is that right now they have stayed with ads being very, very minimal. And if you do have ads in your feed, they're from the highest top creators, which are like the Charlies, all the other, millions of followers accounts. They're the only ones that are allowed to post ads or even get paid for ads. So there's not a huge opportunity for money in ads on TikTok. So it kind of makes the experience a lot more organic, for one, because that isn't your drive, is to get, money out of it. It can't be because the chances are so slim. So it really is, like I said, just that fun-based app. Now, yes, a lot of them are getting, like their interviews with, Ellen DeGeneres and whatever that may not be an ad paid, but it's still really fun and cool that they
Right.
got popular.
Right. There's also the brand exposure, right?
Brand exposure.
So you get brand exposure in one environment, then
You're gonna get it in other places.
Yeah, you're going to pull that audience.
Exactly. So it's just another field to basically say, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and then build attraction that way and make money in different areas as well.
Totally.
So I would say, to answer your question a little bit more pointed though, Instagram is still my income and I focus on that primarily because of that.
Yeah.
TikTok now, with the time that it takes to create and whatever, I set time aside that I know like, I'm not really going to be doing anything. I might as well create a TikTok video. But the funny thing about TikTok is you do have to continually create content to
Yeah,
be
like
seen.
anything, right? So
Yeah,
consistency is still.
you're not seen if you're not created. Most accounts, especially the high paying ones or the high following ones, are making videos 3 times a day.
Wow.
So they're putting out a lot of content. I have not had the time to do so. So it's maybe one. I'm super stoked on myself if I get 2 out, But so my priority is definitely with Instagram, all that to say. And I'll have to keep it that way for a while and have TikTok kind of be a hobby of sorts,
Yeah. And it's always, I think as a creative, you want to have those other outlets.
Exactly.
And you get bored
Yes.
if you're just doing the same thing every day. There's always innovation
Yes.
to be had. So it's cool that you're in that next
Yeah.
stage and like doing something different, but
Yeah.
also staying true to the people who are following you and the accounts that you're working with.
Yeah.
So how does that work with your, because it's a lot of, what is it, affiliate marketing is what you do?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
So can you describe that and like that process of how it all works?
With Instagram,
Yeah.
the affiliate marketing. So I currently actually have an agent for social media now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I did not have that for the longest time.
How did you get a social media agent?
They actually found me, which was really, really nice. I was like, cool, I didn't have to work for that one. That's great. Because before you have an agent for social media, you do have to really poach those brands and throw yourself out there and say, this is what I can bring to your brand. So you're going to reach out to Amazon. You're going to reach out to Honest Company and say, I have babies and I think that they're cute and their butts would look adorable in those diapers. You really have to push it. And that part was definitely challenging for me, and it took a lot of time. But at the time, that was all I was doing. I wasn't acting, I wasn't modeling, I wasn't doing a lot of the other side jobs that I do now. So I had the time to pursue that and email these bigger brands. Some bite, some don't. Sometimes you have to keep sending, like every 2 weeks, you send an email and say the same exact thing, maybe worded a little bit differently. Hey, still really interested in representing your brand over here still. And sometimes they'll come back to you and it works. So you have to be consistent and show that you really care about their company. It's once again that whole aspect of encouraging the brand to build your own as well. So that's my standpoint on that.
Win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win, definitely. Yeah. But then, like I said, so now the social media agent brings me the brands and says, hey, this is what they're wanting. This is the requirements. So going along with that is there's a lot more requirements when you have an agent for it. They want to make sure that they're covered. So you have to film your content beforehand, turn it in, they approve it. Then you have a certain time frame you have to post, so it's definitely a lot more work in email business wise, I guess.
It keeps you accountable to a certain time frame.
It keeps you accountable. Yeah.
Which is like good, but it's hard.
Exactly.
When you're creative. You're like, I just want to be able to create what I want. And,
totally.
Yeah.
I don't want to post it right now. My child is screaming. What? Why did you say I have to post this right now? But it's just the reality of being a stay-at-home mom too.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Especially if you work from home.
Yeah.
Lots of hats.
Totally.
So let's talk now what's to come. So TikTok is part of the strategy for your personal brand. But what else is in store for people that are following you, for your fan base, for your community?
Well, I very briefly mentioned that I'm acting, and that to me has been like a huge dream come true. That I even had when you say you want to be an actor, it's actually a very vulnerable statement. It's probably one of the most vulnerable things that I've ever said. This is something I want to pursue because it's such a massive sacrifice for everybody around you, not just for yourself and for your own time. So to say that you want to be an actor is very scary to say out loud, but I did that about 1.5 years ago. I started with classes and really just challenging myself of, if I think I can do this, then I'm going to grow in it. And I'm not going to just like show up to auditions and waste people's time. Like I want to be good at it too. So I've been really pursuing that. And I think that it's fun because TikTok is kind of a great opportunity to even stay actively acting because, I'm using my facial expressions in 15 seconds to describe what is happening in this moment. So that's a fun aspect of TikTok as well.
So true.
But my goals is I would love to have acting be my career. That's 100% my goal. And I think that using my social media influence to help my career in acting has been my main priority in the past 1.5 years. I'm strategically using my platform that I have to gain whatever recognition or attention that I can from casting directors or anything like that. And I've actually seen that happen where I've had more opportunities because of that. So I think like as an actor, to wrap that up, it's very important to know who you are, know your brand, and build it with social media because when you go into an audition, they do look at those types of things. They look at what's your presence, what's your Google search look like? It's not just your talent anymore. It's who are you going to be representing when you come onto our set? So
definitely,
it's been good for me to have
awesome.
that.
Wow, it's interesting too because this has been your direction. Do you feel like the content that you're creating is informed by the fact that you want to pursue acting? So, I mean, it's, or are you sticking to like a lifestyle vibe, or, you know, how is your Instagram content changing because of that?
Yeah, it is changing quite a bit. So as I said, it primarily started in family life, lifestyle life, you know, cooking. Like I love to cook. And so I used to post a lot of recipes and stuff, but I just don't have the time to do that anymore. So I'm definitely having to pick and choose what content I'm putting out there. And I do think that it is primarily going based on acting now and my more creative side that's I'm wanting to show to people, and the working mom aspect. I think that it's very scary for a lot of moms to think that they can be invested in anything besides their child. They feel like they're stripping their child of something if they invest in themselves. And I think that that's like a really big just conviction to me, is to explain to women that you can still be a super invested mom, and you can be a stay-at-home mom and still have a career. Like, you don't have to be away from your child. You just need to get creative with it. So that's kind of like, it's no longer the times where you have to be 40 hours a week away from your child to have a career.
Right.
It's just not that way anymore.
I love
so
it.
That's kind of my desire, is to push that in women and say, no, you can have your baby sitting on your lap and still do something that you love.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very fulfilling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know that obviously in your life, you have a deeper undercurrent that is informing your purpose. So can you tell me a little bit about what that means to you? I mean, having a relationship with God and...
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because when you are a Christian, everything that flows out of you should be representing the heart of God. And I've felt that through all of these different brands and all of these different like fields that I'm involved in. It's so important that authenticity of Christ coming out of me is not lacking in any of those fields. So kind of just reevaluating a lot and saying like, okay, how can I make sure that I'm spreading the reality of what Christianity should be? Because there's so much that you just like, Christians just get a bad rap. We do. And it is what it is, because there are some people who make really bad decisions publicly and they make us all look bad and crazy, you know? But I think that saying that you can be a creative person, you can be a real person, you can be funny, you can say that you have problems with anxiety, depression, whatever it is that you're struggling with, and still say, but God is with me through it, you know? So for me, it's a really big, I guess I should say, pull on my heart to make sure that even though none of my brands are 100% Christian based, like I'm not only doing Christian movies, I'm not only targeting Christians on my social media platforms, that's not my heart, because then we eliminate the need to show people that you don't have to compromise standards. You don't have to, you know, I guess what I'm getting at is that in this current situation with the world, having integrity, whether you're Christian or not, is very lacking. So I think that showing that the integrity is just who I am, and then they get to hear about God, is the way it should be. Does that make sense? So it's not so much God, 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 Christianity, Jesus, Jesus in somebody's face. It's, no, I'm just a real person and I live an authentic life. And if you want to hear more about my relationship with God, here it is, just on display, because it's natural.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And regardless of if you're Christian or not, sharing the harsh realities of what's going on in your life impacts everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure a lot of
encouragement.
your followers can appreciate that you're shedding light on things that they can feel like they have a place to belong, because really that's what social media is hopefully for, right? Is to build belonging so people feel like they're not so alone in the world. And I mean, that's what the community is for. So like being able to leverage social media for that and recognizing all these people just like want a place to belong and they want something they can relate to, and to be real is so important. And I think that it's interesting to see how social media is changing, and it's kind of reverting backwards a little bit to being more authentic to how it was originally created, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I think that people like love the curated feeds and love all the beauty and all the inspiration, but at some point it can cause a lot of jealousy or feelings of anxiousness or feeling like you're not enough or your life's not enough. And so I think that the people who are going to be continuing to grow and do well are the people who understand that and who can just be real, right?
100%. And I mean, like I said, I have value, or like you said, I mean, I have value for those pages that are definitely very beautifully curated and all the same color fonts throughout. But that never once has been my grid. I don't have any of the same editing on any of my photos. Some are quotes. It's just wild. But that's who I am as a person. Day to day, when you encounter me, I'm going to be crazy. So you're going to see that on my page. And I can't apologize for that, but I think that really does, like you said, pull out that relatability for people. So when you're building your brand, the most important part, I think, is just being relatable to somebody. And even if it's just one person that you're encouraging, it's so worth it.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
Well, thank you so much. This has been a fantastic time that we've had.
We've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, thanks, you guys.
You're amazing.
It's been so fun to be here.
Have you come back?
I would love that.
When some things are changing in your life and you want to share a little bit more.
Like when I book a pilot season or like I'm the next J-Law, get me up in here.
Then we'll totally have you on. We're going to take your word for it. So.
Okay, sounds good. I'll come back for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
It might be a different studio. I don't know what's going to be happening, but there's room for growth for everybody.
Yeah,
and
so
lots of exciting things in the future.
So fans following you can reach you at
Alyssa Quilala on Instagram. Yeah. At Liz Quilala on TikTok, actually.
Okay.
So,
Right.
Funny story. I created
your alter ego?
Alyssa Quilala and I forgot the password on it, so that one's just like blocked and shut down. It's total like 30-year-old brain problem. So
it's your alter
Liz.
ego.
Yes.
Alter ego.
Well, most people call me Liz.
Okay.
I actually like all my friends and family up close.
Liz.
It's Liz.
Okay.
So Alyssa just feels like so proper, so fancy. I don't know.
your
But
TikTok brand that's less proper. Is
exactly.
Yes.
I think that's kind of why I went that route too, because I was like, I'm
It was all
just
meant to
chill.
be.
Like I'm just Liz.
Yeah. It's meant to be.
Exactly.
I love it.
Right on. Hey, thanks for listening. Don't be a stranger. Hit the subscribe button and let us know how you enjoyed the episode in a rating on the podcast app or in the comments below if you're watching. And remember, you're one of a kind.